The original melanated people of this planet, who were once the perfect picture of health, are now leading in nearly every preventable disease globally. Our indigenous foods and cultural practices kept us 95% disease-free. Over time, as we adopted a foreign dietary lifestyle, our physical and mental health severely declined. I gathered over 15 years of experience as a registered nurse and African holistic practitioner to address this complex challenge in my new book, High Vibration Nutrition. This is a simple guide to healing through our culture and flourishing in wellness once again. Get the High Vibration Nutrition book by Banaset Kind Sekmet at Amazon. Also, get limited edition autographed copies of the book at kemeticwellness.com. Peace, Chem family. It's me, Banaset, your African holistic health nurse for Kemetic Wellness, and I'm back with another video. Today, I am continuing my series on the spiritual causes of disease, and we're going to be talking about the spiritual causes of heart disease. If you're new here, my name is Banaset. I am a licensed registered nurse and energy healer. I focus on generational healing through African holistic health because your healing is in your culture. Here at Kemetic Wellness, we heal ourselves using language, energy medicine, nutrition, and sacred movement. So if any of that resonates with you, please keep watching. So today we are focusing on the energy blockages that are common in heart disease and how to heal them. This one is extremely important. Heart disease is the #1 life taker for all Americans, but particularly Black Americans. It's the leading cause of life ending for all Americans, okay? However, Black Americans have the highest levels of high blood pressure in the entire world. The entire world. Almost 60% of Black American women over the age of 20 are dealing with some form of heart disease. So we are going to talk about this today, okay? Now, the most obvious causes of heart disease are diet and lifestyle. I think everyone knows that. And a lot of you have heard these things, but it hasn't really changed anything in your behavior. So today we're going to talk about the spiritual causes. We're going to talk about the emotional imbalances and the energy blockages that cause literal heart failure. So what does the heart represent in the spiritual realm? What are the metaphysical aspects of the heart and the heart space? The heart is our seat of our truest desires. Okay, it is the part of the energetic body that holds our truest selves. It's the doorway to the spirit. It's through the heart that we express our capacity for deep feeling, for nurturing, for affection, and for unconditional love. And the spirit of the heart holds the space for forgiveness, for compassion, for sensitivity for yourself and for others, and for life in general. So spiritually, heart disease is linked to unresolved emotional wounds. It's linked to a blocked energy in the heart chakra and imbalances in love and forgiveness and in self-worth. So let's talk about the deeper spiritual causes of heart disease. #1 is unforgiveness and resentment. Unforgiveness and resentment. Holding on to past hurts, betrayals, and holding on to grudges. Okay? Bitterness and anger. These energies create blockages in the heart that lead to stress and disease. So, resentment and a lack of forgiveness are energy blockages that create physical blockages in the flow of vitality to the heart. So, I know someone who may have never heard any of these things. This sounds like metaphysical mumbo jumbo to you, but this is a real thing. This is a real thing. So, every thought that you think creates a biochemical reaction in the body. Okay, in order for me to blink, I had to first think about it first. Okay, so the thinking creates a reaction in the body, a chemical reaction that produces, that allowed the nerve signals to cause me to blink. Okay, this happens with every thought that you have. Every thought that you have creates a biochemical reaction that becomes a physical thing in the body. Okay, so thoughts become physical things. Every time you think about those past hurts, those betrayals, those grudges, you are reliving them in your body. And as you are reliving them, a stress response is occurring. And your body goes through it all over again as if it just happened, even though it happened 20 years ago. This is how unforgiveness and resentment make your heart sick. Your heart becomes sick over time because even though the pain happened years ago, when you don't release it and you're reliving it over and over again in your body, particularly in the heart becomes sick. This is one of the spiritual causes of heart disease, unforgiveness and resentment. Another one, or number two, is a lack of self-love. Lack of self-love. What this looks like is neglecting your own emotional and spiritual needs. And this can manifest as heart-related issues. Remember, I said the heart is the seat of our truest desires. So sometimes we have experiences in life that make us feel insecure, and our own insecurities cause us to give up on things that we truly desire because we've been disappointed too many times. We feel defeated, or we don't believe that we can have what we desire. There's a saying that a dream deferred makes the heart sick. Okay. This is why it's extremely important to go after the desires of your heart, because that regret of not having lived those things and had those experiences can literally be heartbreaking. This is one of the causes, the spiritual causes of heart disease. Okay. Whenever you avoid giving yourself the desires of your heart, you're telling yourself that you're not worth it. You're neglecting yourself. And you're being unkind to yourself by not addressing your desires and your emotional needs. A lot of people think that self-care and self-love is all about vanity. That's what most people think when we hear that. Okay. But it's really about ensuring that your fundamental needs are met. This allows you to be a fully functioning, whole being. Okay. You are really unfit to be in a relationship with anyone else until you are able to create a healthy relationship with yourself. Okay. So lack of self-love is one of the spiritual causes of heart disease. Okay. Another one is suppressed emotions. I see this a lot. As a nurse. So bottling up sadness, grief, hatred, fear, or anger instead of expressing them and processing them can create a lot of tension in the body, especially in the heart. If anyone has experienced grief or sadness, it literally feels like your heart is breaking. It feels like your heart is breaking. And in fact, heartbreak can cause your physical heart to be broken. There's actually a medical condition called broken heart syndrome. Did you know that? It's actually one of my own subscribers who let me know about that because it was something she was diagnosed with. Okay, this is a real thing. Broken heart syndrome is a condition in which the heart muscles weaken and it balloons in response to a severe emotional or physical stressor. I don't know if you've ever heard of people who they lose a loved one. Usually it's a parent-child relationship. So like a parent that loses a child in a tragic way, in a sudden way, and all of a sudden, either right there on the spot or days later, that parent goes into heart failure and passes away too. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. Okay. So the release of those stress hormones that come about when you have all of that grief, pain, sadness, anger, especially if it's an acute event, it releases catecholamines. Okay. And that's how your body responds to stress. And those stress hormones can damage the heart muscle and lead to its weakening. So just one severe heartbreak can end your life. Just one. Um, Imagine many and many and many and many heartbreaks. This is one of the spiritual causes of heart disease. Okay. Many of our ancestors also who were on slave ships, for example, many of them passed away because of the physical conditions, but some just passed away. Some just passed away because they were so heartbroken. They died of melancholy, sadness, deep sadness. They literally died of heartbreak. Okay. So you can leave the living realm from a broken heart. If you know that you have bottled up emotions, suppressed emotions, anger, sadness, grief, let this be a warning to you that it is time to release it. This is one of the primary spiritual causes of heart disease. Okay. Another, which veggie backs on this, is broken relationships and loss. So someone who's had lots of issues with abandonment, okay, romantic relationships not working out, okay, heartbreak and grief from losing loved ones or emotional abandonment can weaken the heart over time. Repeated broken relationships and abandonment wounds can lead to feelings of deep insecurity. When this happens over time, you will begin to feel unloved. Okay. You may fear being hurt, so you develop defense mechanisms to protect yourself. You may even begin to shut out love, which is necessary for a healthy heart space, a healthy heart chakra. Okay. Love is a life-giving power. So when you shut out love, you are literally cutting off your own vitality. These emotional defenses that you develop in response to being hurt create physical blockages in the heart. And these physical blockages in the heart impede the flow of blood to the heart. It impedes heart circulation. Okay. This is how heart disease begins to take root from broken relationships and grief. Oftentimes, you're going to feel defeated from broken relationships, and that feeling of being defeated causes you to give up on yourself. And this again goes back to the lack of self-love. This weakens the heart. Okay. The strength of the heart is on its ability. It is based on its ability to keep beating and to keep pumping no matter what. Once your heart stops beating, it's over for you. Okay. So giving up on yourself, it weakens the heart. It weakens the vitality of the heart, that blood circulation that you need. The heart becomes less able to pump as vigorously as it's supposed to. This is one of the spiritual causes of heart disease. Okay. Number 5 is living a life without passion or joy. Living a life without passion or joy is one of the spiritual causes of heart disease. So a life that is lacking in joy, in love, in purpose, or in meaningful connections can deplete the heart energy. The heart requires happiness in order to be healthy. Okay. Times of pure joy and pure laughter. This is medicine for the heart. Laughter is literal medicine for the heart. Okay. A lot of people think that living a lazy life where they lounge around, the couch potato lifestyle, no real hobbies besides watching TV, figuring out when their next show is coming on, where they're sitting around watching other people live these amazing lives, but they don't actually live an amazing life. This makes life hard. Okay. You think that it's easy. You think that it feels good. Okay, sitting around playing video games all day. It actually makes life very depressing and lackluster. You're lacking vigor in your life. This is another way that you begin to make the heart weak. Okay? It makes the heart weak. A life that is low on joy, on laughter, on vigor makes the heart weak. So people who do not have passions and hobbies that bring them joy often replace hobbies with vices and bad habits. Mhm. Smoking, drinking, partying, corn, corn, promiscuous sex, gambling, drugs. I think that was another word I wasn't supposed to say. Okay. All of those things are vices that people use in place of having actual hobbies that bring them joy. Okay. People who live a life without passion and purpose are always going to develop vices because they need the vices to make them feel alive. Yeah. And those vices are the foundation of a lifestyle. Okay. Those poor habits. Remember, everybody tells you that it's lifestyle, it's diet and lifestyle. Okay. That cause these problems. I'm breaking down to you what it is. Okay. So those vices are the foundation of a lifestyle, a poor lifestyle that creates heart disease. These are the spiritual causes of heart disease. The next one is chronic stress and anxiety. Yes. Okay. Constant worrying, constant pressure can strain the heart and is deeply connected to your emotional well being. Every time you react to stress, adrenaline, cortisol, and norepinephrine enter the body. Okay. These are more stress hormones. Okay. These particular stress hormones prepare the body for fight or flight. Okay. So you think that you're in danger. Whenever you are stressed out, your body says, danger, danger. We got to do something about this. Okay. And when that happens, the body is preparing itself to respond to the stress. And what it's going to do, it's going to deliver more blood to the heart muscles, to the heart muscle during this stressful situation. So it's going to cause the heart to pump blood more forcefully. This is how stress and anxiety weaken the heart. This is one of the spiritual causes of heart disease. So people who develop heart disease often stay in stressful situations too long, whether it's stressful jobs, stressful relationships, friendships with a lot of drama, okay, or toxic family dynamics. People with heart disease do not manage stress well. I was talking to a patient um, yesterday, actually. Every now and then I'll go deep with certain patients. Not everybody is open to hearing certain things. But I was asking them, what habits do they have on a regular basis for relieving stress? And they don't have any. The only one they have is food. People who have issues with heart disease oftentimes do not have any micro habits, any skills, hobbies, things that they do in their life that help them to manage stress well, that help them to relieve stress. Okay. So they allow the stress to consume them. Stress management is a skill. It's a skill. People who have problems with heart disease, they don't expand their knowledge or their skills on how to manage stress, which is why it overwhelms them and eventually makes the heart sick. These are the spiritual causes of heart disease. Another one is disconnection from divine love. This is number 7. Disconnection from divine love means feeling separated from the creator, feeling separated from nature or universal love. This can lead to an emptiness that negatively affects the heart. The heart space is the bridge between your higher self and your lower self. Okay. Your lower nature is more of your primary, your primal, instinctual self. Your higher self is your actualized self, your intuition. your connection to the divine. And the heart is the bridge between the two. So the divine creator is the ultimate source of love. If you feel disconnected from the creator, you will also feel disconnected from love, which will affect the health of your heart. Being disconnected from divine love also creates a sense of arrogance and low tolerance for sensitivity. So you'll hear people who are always telling everyone else that they're too sensitive. Certain people who are rude, nasty, okay, arrogant, disrespectful. And when they dish that out to people and they get a reaction, they will say, "You're too sensitive." Mhm. Those types of people lack tenderness. There's a tenderness missing. Okay. That can cause someone to be very cruel person, cruel with their words and cruel in their actions. There's something missing in the heart space. These are the spiritual causes of heart disease. And number 8, the last one I'll talk about, is carrying family or ancestral trauma. This is a huge one. And I suspect that this is actually at the root of why Black Americans have the highest rates of heart disease globally. Black Americans, and really all of us throughout the diaspora, are not only dealing with unresolved ancestral trauma from slavery, but the continued trauma of living in a racist society. I think this is why it affects Black Americans so much more, because those of us who experience slavery and colonization throughout the diaspora and live either on the continent or in the Caribbean amongst each other, even though we're still experiencing those effects, we live amongst each other, so we do not have to deal with the constant microaggressions that Black Americans have to deal with living in a white society. Living amongst Wazungu is dangerous. Child, these people are dangerous. Okay. These are the circumstances that are unique to Black Americans, even more so than Africans in the diaspora, because of the constant contact and microaggressions from these albino creatures. Okay. Also, Black Americans have never escaped the limitations placed on them through slavery. And even though my family is not from the United States, my family is Jamaican, I have somewhat of a dual identity because I grew up having the experience of being a Black person in America, even though I have a Caribbean background. Okay, most of the history that I know is connected to Black American history, so I still feel very connected to that. Okay. So when I say that Black Americans never actually escaped the limitations placed on them through slavery, what I'm talking about is after slavery ended in 1865, 95%, actually 98% of all Black Americans worked for Wazungu. 98% worked for Wazungu. And only 1/2 of 1% of all Black Americans owned the wealth in this country. Okay. The majority of the wealth is owned by Wazungu and others. So Black people owned 1/2 of 1% of the wealth in this country. We think that we've made a whole lot of progression. However, today in 2025, still 98% of all Black Americans work for Wazungu, and Black people still only own 0.5% of all the wealth in this country. So whatever you think has changed, it only looked different. Okay. Furthermore, slavery never actually ended. It never ended, not even in this country. They just make it look different and call it by a different name. Okay. A narcissist never changes its spots. Okay. They just find different ways to do the same thing. Okay. So none of this ever ended. Okay. Right. What you all are calling the prison industrial system is just slavery by a different name. There are more prisoners in the United States than there are worldwide. Okay, so when they lock you up for silly little things, place charges on you for things that you didn't do, they're literally just re-enslaving you and calling it something different. Currently, in the United States, there are more Black people in prison than there were enslaved. Okay, so not only did it not disappear, not only did it not get better, it's worse. It's worse than what you thought it was. So none of it ever ended. Okay, you're going to have people who gaslight you and say that you never lived through slavery, so it has no effect on you. That is a lie. That is a lie. And the truth is, we absolutely did live through it. We did live through it. Everything that the slave master did to our enslaved ancestors, they turned and did it to their children. They turned and did it to their children. You see, they couldn't fight Massa. They couldn't fight Massa. They had no power over him. But guess who they did have power over? You, their children. They had power over you. This is why you have a lot of us talking about the experience of being raised in narcissistic homes and with narcissistic parents, because they literally took on the mindset and the behavior of the narcissist, aka the Wazungu, aka the slave master who had power over them and inflicted the same pain onto you. Okay, so your parent who was a colorist, who taught it to them? Your mother who triangulated your siblings against each other, where did she learn to do that? Your father who spread his seed all over the place and abandoned you, where did he learn that? Okay, these are all remnants of slavery. So this is generational pain. I've said here numerous times on my channel that what they are calling narcissistic abuse is simply describing the psychology of Wazungu. So those of us who have grown up in Black households, in narcissistic, toxic family dynamics, your parents are simply passing down the treatment that they receive from Massa onto you. So this is one of the major spiritual causes of heart disease. Generational pain. Generational pain and unresolved family patterns manifest in the body, including heart-related illnesses. And generational trauma causes you to feel like you are carrying a burden from birth. Okay? Some people inherit trust funds. You inherited trauma. Okay. So when you have generational pain, you feel like you're carrying a burden from birth. And it's one that you feel like you have to work your entire life to get rid of. And maybe that you won't even be able to experience the benefits of it. Maybe your children will. This is a huge stressor on the heart. And this is one of the main spiritual causes of heart disease. Okay. So let's talk about the solutions. Okay. Number one is forgiveness. Number one is forgiveness. And let me say this straight before I even talk about forgiveness, because I just talked about generational pain. I'm not talking about forgiving Wazungu. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. Forgiveness without justice is pointless. So don't misapply what I'm talking about. Okay. The purpose of forgiveness is to make your heart light. Okay. Resentment is a very heavy emotion. It's a heavy emotion and it takes up a lot of heart space. When we free up that heart space, we have more room for ourselves. We have more room for our passions and we have more room for self-love. A lot of us have trouble with this because we feel like we're going to be letting the other person off the hook for hurting us. The truth is that you are freeing yourself. When you forgive, you are freeing yourself. Whatever somebody else did to you, you are actually giving them more power by not forgiving them because they get to keep their hooks in you and weigh you down. Okay? This is going to keep you from ascending. So in African cosmology, coming out of ancient Kemet, the heart is weighed against a feather in the afterlife. In order for the person's soul to ascend, the heart has to be lighter than a feather. Think about how light a feather is. Okay. These scales, the weighing of the heart, it represents, or the heart itself, it represents the soul of a person who lived in Ma'at. And Ma'at stands for truth and justice. When a person's heart is too heavy, it means that they had too much chaos within. Okay. It means they had too much chaos within. And not only were they not able to ascend, their heart would be devoured. Okay. So in order to heal your physical heart, you have to practice forgiveness. And if you need help with this, you may want to join me in the next RaSekhi Reiki intensive that we have coming up. I'll talk about that more in a bit. Okay. The second solution is inner child healing. When I think of self-love, it always comes back to healing the inner child. Inner child healing is really about treating yourself as if you were your own baby. So there are a lot of adults who are walking around in a state of arrested development, very immature. They look grown on the outside. They're doing all of these adult things, but mentally and emotionally, they are stuck at that stage and that age as a child where they were wounded or traumatized, and they never healed from that trauma. Inner child healing invites you to reconnect with that child within you who never got their needs met. And because they never got their needs met, they are wreaking havoc in your adult life. Okay. They're behaving like a spoiled brat whose parents have neglected them, because essentially that is what you are doing. You are neglecting your inner child. And until you do the work of reparenting yourself, sitting with your inner child through meditation to find out what is hurting them, what is bothering them, they're going to throw tantrums in your life. They're going to act out. Okay? They're going to overeat because they feel unloved. Okay? They're going to look for love in all the wrong places because none of their desires are being met. Okay? I'm going to go into this in a different series on inner child healing. Okay? But this is where you need to start to heal your heart. Work with your inner child. You have to identify your emotional needs, make a list of them, and get to fulfilling them. Get to it. Okay. Third solution. You have to practice releasing negative emotions instead of holding on to them. So, as I mentioned earlier about the patient who had no practices of releasing stress or trauma, no knowledge of any of these, or none that the person was putting into practice, you have to develop micro habits for releasing stress and trauma. You have to not just know about them, but you have to practice them. They become a daily part of your life. Okay? So go to therapy, journal, get you a Reiki healing session, get you a massage, take your spiritual baths, do your rituals for emotional release. These are things that we do in RaSekhi Kemetic Reiki. Level 1 is self-healing focus, because as a healer, you have to heal yourself first before you can do energy work on other people. When you're in the Pan-African space or the African holistic health space, you'll meet a lot of people who say they are healers, but they have a lot of healing work to do. And that's not a judgment call, because everyone is on their own journey. But you cannot do energy work and heal other people if you're not doing your own work. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay. You have to build up enough Sekem, enough of that internal vital energy, that internal power to do proper energy work on others. Okay. This is not just so you can appear competent with other people. This is for your own spiritual protection. So please don't discount what I'm saying here. If you yourself are a healer, you have to do your own spiritual work on yourself. When people start to come to you with real problems, not only can you not properly help them because you haven't done the work on yourself, so you don't really know what it looks like, but you're also susceptible to energy transference because you have too many holes in your aura. Okay, you're weak. Releasing trauma and doing spiritual work on yourself strengthens your aura. It strengthens your Sekem. You're too weak. You haven't released your own traumas, and you haven't done enough cleansing work on yourself. You haven't cleansed your own aura enough. You haven't done the release work, the spiritual baths, the prayer, the meditation, the shadow work. Let you get the wrong client. Some of y'all will end up in psychosis. That message is for somebody. Okay. Even if you're not doing energy work, it can be one bad experience that you have in your life that's the straw that broke the camel's back. There's a lot of people, when they hear my story and they see me and they experience being around me in person, they're like, why do you have such a light about you? Like, why are you able to continue doing certain things when you've been through all of that? I've met people who go through one of those things and they give up on themselves for life. Because I am an alchemist, I know what to do with energy. I know what to do with it. Give it to me. I know what to do with it. I know what to do with it. This is why learning about energy medicine is so important. Okay? Learning how to release trauma. Okay? When you don't release the trauma, it makes you weak. Right? Number 4 solution: protect your heart. Protect your heart. To have something of value without being able to protect it is like not having it at all. Your heart is the seat of your desires and all of your passions. You need your heart space in order to fulfill your purpose and in order to experience joy. If you grew up in a dysfunctional family where you learn to accept mistreatment, this is where you have to begin the work of reparenting yourself. Okay. So we talked about the inner child healing. Reparenting is a part of inner child healing work. This is where you become your own mother and you become your own father. So, for example, you're going to meet your needs the way that a good parent would if you didn't have a good parent. So all the things that you thought, okay, I would never do that to my child. You know, I can't believe my mama did this to me. I would never do that to my child. I can't believe my father did this to me. You are going to have to give to yourself what you in your mind see a good parent doing. Okay. So you refather yourself by activating your masculine energy of protection. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female. We all have both masculine and feminine energy. Okay. So, for example, in refathering yourself and activating that masculine energy of protection, you're going to study the behaviors of manipulative people so you know how to guard yourself against them. You have to learn how to protect your heart so that you are not consistently experiencing heartbreak. Okay. Think about on those shows when a father or a girl is going out on a date and the father requires that the man come and sit with him and speak with him because he's protecting his little girl. He's going to interrogate that man. The girl is all wide-eyed and got butterflies in her stomach and think, oh, he is so cute. The father ain't thinking nothing like that. He's there like this. Now, what intentions do you have for my daughter? Who are you? What do you do for a living? Okay, this is how you have to start protecting your heart, especially women who don't have that instinct or who didn't grow up with a masculine energy to teach them what it looked like to protect yourself. Okay, that's a part of refathering yourself. You have to develop your skills in assertiveness. Okay, some of you all are too passive. This is going to allow you to advocate for yourself properly. You also want to re-mother yourself. So if you did not have a nurturing mother or a mother who lacked in that area, you want to activate your feminine energy of nurturing. Okay. Think about how a good mother would say, "You're not going over there and playing with them kids because I don't trust them kids." Okay? I don't trust them kids around you. Those kids don't look like they were raised right. I don't want you around my child. You have to do that too. Okay? Avoid places that don't make you feel loved, cherished, and respected. Cherish is the feminine aspect of being respected. So, women, we need to feel cherished. We need to feel appreciated in whatever space that we're in. Men need to feel respected. So, for men, you're thinking more about respect. You need to avoid places where you are not being respected as a man. Women, you have to avoid places where you are not being cherished and loved, because a good mother is going to cherish and love her child, right? So if you are your child, you need to make sure that that's how you feel when you're in certain environments and around certain people. This is going to help you heal your heartbreak. When you start treating yourself with the love and the affection that you desire by placing yourself in environments that reflect that same level of love back to you. Okay. The next solution is living a life of purpose. You're going to be your most joyful self when you are living your purpose. If you do not know what your purpose is, then that's what you need to focus on, discovering your purpose. And if you have no idea where to start, I would suggest that you Google Purpose Ikigai. Purpose Ikigai. 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 You're going to find a very helpful diagram on this. Okay? Find the diagram, print it out. Living your purpose is going to help heal your heart. Okay? What the Ikigai does is it helps you to map out your purpose. So, discovering your purpose is a combination of what you love, which is your passion, what the world needs, which is your mission, what you can get paid for, which is your vocation, and what you are good at, which is your profession. Okay? Right in the middle of all of those things is your purpose. So you're going to make a list of all of these things and start doing them immediately, not tomorrow, right now. You start doing them immediately. So make a list of your passions, your profession, your vocation, and your mission. Think of the things that the world needs. Okay? Think of the things that the world needs. If you've ever been in a space, if you've ever been in a space where someone is coming up with a solution, and there's always that one person who's talking about, and that's not the solution. What we need is this. What we need is, but that person is not actually doing anything. That person who what we need is, that's something that you see that need to be done. Somebody else may have seen a different issue that struck a chord with them. And they said, I have the skills and talents that I can give this to change this problem, to bring a solution forth. If you see something that is needed in the world, it is you who need to fix it. So if pollution bothers you, okay, a polluted, dirty, outside environment, pollution in nature, that bothers you. And you're like, why is there nothing being done about it? It's you who need to do something. It's you. Put your skills and your talents together to bring forth a solution, what the world needs. That's a part of your mission. Stop talking about what everybody else or somebody else is not doing. Stop talking about is what we need is, and go do it. It's you who needs to do it. You're the one who has an issue with it. This is what's going to heal your heart. Okay. Number 6, another solution. Avoid stress like the plague. Avoid stress like the plague. You have to learn life-giving ways to release stress from the body. That's another thing that people use vices for. They use vices to relieve stress because they don't know any other way to relieve stress, or they're too lazy to develop skills or practices that reduce and alleviate stress and place the body in a more peaceful state. So if your job is too stressful, you either need to get another job or transition into another career. If you're in a bad relationship with anyone, get out of it. Get out of it. Stress will end your life. Okay, so you have to expand your knowledge on hobbies that relieve stress. Get your nails did. Get your massages. Go hiking. Go skating. Go to the beach. Go travel. Meditate. Practice mindfulness. I could go on and on and on and on because it's what I do. Okay. Do you enjoy singing? If you love to sing, go take some singing lessons. Okay. You don't have to be auditioning for American Idol to go take singing lessons. You can actually just do it because it helps you relieve stress and because it's something that you enjoy. You have to know that you are worth it enough to invest in yourself. So go invest in your hobbies. People who have heart problems only know destructive ways to relieve stress. Okay, I'm stressed, so I'm going to go pop pills. Oh, I'm stressed, so I'm going to go sleep around. I'm going to sleep with a random person. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. How about gardening? How about gardening? How about sewing, crocheting? Okay. Develop ways to relieve stress that do not harm you or anybody else. This is how you heal your heart. Number 7, solution for healing the heart. Spend time in nature. Okay, if you're missing that divine connection, spend time in nature. Our ancestors in Kemet called the creator Necher. You've heard the term Neter or Necher. That is the origin of the word nature. That's the origin of the word nature. So in their writings, in the sacred text in the Middle Neter, they referred to everything in nature as Necher. They refer to humans, plants, animals, and everything that exists as nature. So this gives you an insight into how our ancestors viewed the creator and creation. Okay, if you are missing a connection with the divine, go and spend time in nature. Spending time in nature is medicine for the heart, and it is a reminder to you of your oneness with divinity. Okay. All of the elements in nature, air, fire, water, earth, and ether, are also elements within you. They also exist within you. So when you spend time in nature, it is a reminder of your oneness with divinity. Nature is medicine for the heart. The fresh air is going to improve oxygenation to the heart. The land is going to ground you and stabilize you. The heat, whether it's from an open fire or from raw sun energy, is going to invigorate you. Okay. The natural water is going to calm your emotions. Ether is the essence that exists in all things. So if you are feeling disconnected from the creator, from divine love, it's time to spend time in nature. This is how you heal the heart. And the last one, ancestral trauma. You want to heal your ancestral trauma in order to heal the heart. You have to decide that the pain you inherited is not going to be the inheritance you leave for your children. In order to do that, you have to identify the negative generational patterns in your family. And you have to make the decision that you will not continue these patterns. So determine what the healthy or healed version of yourself looks like and of a family dynamic looks like for you. And when you determine what the healed version looks like, you have to live your life in a way that would bring that into fruition. This is real manifestation work. You have to live your life in a way that would bring that into fruition. This is how you break those negative cycles for yourself and for your children. And when I say even for your children, remember, in reparenting yourself, you are your child. Remember that when breaking generational cycles, you are included. You get to come too. Okay? This is why you have to start living your life in that way. Okay? You're not going to be equipped to give your children a different life if you don't live a different life. There's a lot of people who say they want to live or break generational curses, but they living the same life that they grew up in. How, Sway? How? How are you going to give your children a different life than what you grew up in and you still live in the same thing? It doesn't work like that. Okay. You are included in breaking the cycle. You are included. You get to come too. So, for example, if you have a family cycle of fathers abandoning their children and women raising children alone, okay, and you desire to break that cycle, you have to live in a way that is completely opposite of what that life looks like in order to break the cycle. Okay. So if you're a woman and you're in a relationship with a man and you want to marry him, but he tells you that y'all don't need to get married to have kids, he don't believe in that. He's telling you he just wants you to have his baby. Remember the cycle that you do not want to repeat. Okay. So when you see that man appear in your life, you know that he is a demon sent to drag you back into a generational curse. You need to rebuke him and send him back. Send him back to where he came from. Okay. If you're a man who grew up with parental abandonment issues because your daddy was a Rolling Stone, okay, and this is not the life that you want to create for yourself. Okay, you meet a woman, she's beautiful, okay, she look like the woman of your dreams. You want to marry her, right? You want to marry her so you can have a different life. But Keisha got 3 babies by 4 different men. You need to rebuke her and send her back to the streets where she came from. Okay? If you are on a mission of breaking generational curses, you need to act like it. If you are on a mission of breaking generational curses, you need to act like it. Okay? And when you are on this mission, you will be tested. Mark my words. Everything that you say you want to do, the test will appear in your life. Because this is the universe presenting you with the opportunity to do just that. Make sure you pass. Okay? Make sure you pass. So everything that could destroy your destiny and destroy your plans to break that curse is going to show up. Mark my words, it will show up. So you have to be ready. You have to be on guard. If you have friends who are still living in that curse that you are trying to break, get rid of them. Okay? If you are in too many environments and around too many people who are living with or living a life that is not aligned with the healed version of yourself, you won't be able to ascend there. It's a very, 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 very difficult thing to break generational patterns. It's extremely difficult. People are going to think that you think you're better than them. You think you're this, you think you're that. When you don't want to associate with them anymore, you cannot feel guilty about leaving people behind. This is not a joke. Okay? Harriet Tubman had to leave her whole family behind to live a different life. Everybody is not going to go with you. Most of the people that you love dearly, are not going to go with you. You have to be very serious about who's in your life. Okay? If you have 4 friends who are single moms and deadbeat daddies, you about to be the 5th one. I promise you. So get rid of them. Okay? Go and find friends who have created healthy families for themselves, if this is what you are attempting to do. And not attempting, if this is what you are called to do. If you feel convicted and called to live a different experience than what you've seen in your family, you have to know what it looks like. You have to show up that way in your life, and you have to surround yourself around other people who are living that life as well. Even if they themselves are single and they haven't yet created that family, they're living a life that is also in alignment with the type of life that you are creating for yourself. Okay? This is how you show up when you're determined to get away from that lifestyle. All right. I also want to say this part that since we're still on the example of breaking the curse of single moms and deadbeat daddies, okay? If you have already fallen into that trap and you know that that was something you didn't want for yourself, you still have an opportunity to break that pattern. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's completely lost on you and the opportunity is gone and you've just ruined your life. You still have an opportunity to break that pattern. Just don't repeat the same mistakes. Just don't repeat the same mistakes. Go forward living your life in alignment with the healed version of you. A great example of this is Ciara, the singer Ciara. She ended up having a baby by a man who was a serial baby daddy. And she didn't do what a lot of other women do, which was hang her head and think that she wasn't worthy of having the family she wanted. She simply left the relationship, healed her heart, and found a man who could give her the family that she desired. She has a beautiful family now with a different man, Russell Wilson. And that person, that demon who showed up to destroy her plans. It aggravates him every time he sees it. Him and all the other demons who can't stand the fact that she actually was able to recover from that and live a beautiful life. Okay? The opportunity hasn't been lost for you if you made mistakes on your journey. Just go forward, living your life in alignment with the life that you want to create, the healed version of you. This is how you heal your heart. Okay? So healing heart disease on a spiritual level, it involves a lot of really deep work. Okay? It involves deep work, practicing forgiveness, opening yourself up to love, releasing old wounds, and aligning yourself with joy and purpose. This is the energy medicine that we do in the Kemetic Reiki program. Our next classes, our next intensives are coming up soon. If you would like to join, click the link in the description of this video and sign up for the wait list to be notified of the next classes. Also, get the High Vibration Nutrition book and ebook at kemeticwellness.com. That is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.